Hello YouTube, Kermit the Critic here. This is review number 4, and this is going to be the video that proves that George Lucas can do something right. This is going to be my review on the entire original trilogy of Star Wars. So, number 4, which is the first one I ever made. Yeah, that's confusing to start with. I didn't get that to start with. I was like, what? So number 4 is number 1. But it's number 4. And then there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But no, just go with it, okay? A New Hope. Originally just called Star Wars, but renamed when they made Empire Strikes Back and then Return of the Jedi. I admit when I first saw this, I got quite bored quite easily. Now, that's probably just because you wait the whole film for some really cool stuff, but in the whole film there are exciting bits and bits that make you go, huh, no, huh. But to start with, it gets really slow, and it does have a bit of a problem with the pacing occasionally. But no, stuff happens. But the one thing that you think will be cool in it is the battle between Darth Vader and Ben Kenobi, or Obi-Wan Kenobi, as you later find out he's called. Yeah, it's a bit weird because it makes you think, right, this is going to be cool, this is going to be amazing, this is going to be really emotional, and it just sort of falls flat in my opinion. Which is really sad, because that could have been a really emotional scene, because Obi-Wan used to be his master before Anakin or Darth Vader turned to the dark side. So yeah, in a way that falls flat. But the coolest bit in the whole film is when they blow up the Death Star. When it comes to the acting, spot on. For everyone, I think. And when you first see Darth Vader step in, and you first hear the voice, James Earl Jones' voice, it's amazing. Bring me the prisoners, I want them alive. That thing. It really starts the film off on a good way. Mark Hamill as Luke Skywalker, he pulls off the sort of lonely kid, but he has that sort of raw ruggedness that you can sort of imagine he could be the hero. He looks like the hero. Even with the funny hair, which I used to have, kind of. I used to have really long hair. It was embarrassing. Really embarrassing. I might upload some photos later. Yeah, Carrie Fisher is a central character as Princess Leia, but she doesn't do much. She's the one that needs rescued, and she looks like she's very brave and very sort of sophisticated and very stoic. But she doesn't do much. Han Solo, Harrison Ford, and Chewbacca. Now, for the life of me, I can't remember who played Chewbacca, but I know he got a Lifetime Achievement Award, which is amazing, presented to him by Carrie Fisher. So I think that's quite an achievement, and if I find his name, I will let you know, or look it up yourself. But yes, that is a brilliant duo. I love that duo. It's an amazing duo. It's one of these really iconic, almost couples. I mean, they're kind of, it's a bromance, even though they're not the same species. So, everything makes this film awesome, apart from the fact that nothing much happens until the end. So that was a bit of a disappointment. Empire Strikes Back. This is where shit gets real. This is a few years after they blew up the first Death Star, and this is where lots of things come to light, especially at the end, and I'm not going to pretend that's a spoiler, because if you don't know, then you're an idiot, and I will come back to what I'm talking about later. Okay, to start with, you see them on Hoth. This is the rebel base, and the Empire find them. That's not good to start with. You also see the ghost of Obi-Wan come to look and tell him to go find Yoda in the Dagobah system, and that's interesting because it's the first mention you get of this Jedi Master who's set up to be really courageous and should be a massive hero, and when you see him he's teeny weeny, and I think that's fun. Sorry about the light, it's being a jackass. Now again, the acting is pretty pitch perfect. If anything, it's better. There's a lot more humour in this one, especially between Princess Leia and Han Solo. That on-screen chemistry that they had, and the way that they sort of fall in love, but in a sort of way that neither of them really want it. They just can't help it. But they're both attracted to each other, even though they're very different characters, and that's really good to see. But their humour is brilliant, and the writing is brilliant for that. The most exciting bit in the whole film is the battle between Luke Skywalker. This is the time where you really get to see him use his lightsaber. He doesn't use it much in the last one, and this is the time where he really kicks ass. But he's fighting Darth Vader. This is the lead up to the confrontation that Luke has been training for all through the film. But he's still not ready for it, but because his friends are in trouble, he goes for it. Now this ends up in him losing his hand. Yeah. Vader chops off his hand. Talk about extreme parenting. And that brings me to the climax and the twist. And then I really wish I could be in the cinema the first time people heard that line. No, Luke. I am your father. How amazing would that be? And if you were in that cinema, if that surprised you, or the first time you saw that, if you got that shiver down your spine and that amazing moment, please tell me in the comments, because it's now just such a cliche, but when it came out that must have been so amazing and so lovely. So yeah, the ending is a little disappointing, I admit. You think, why does it end like that? Also, and this is something that Brian in Family Guy brings up, is if you watch the real film, Lando is wearing Han's clothes. Why? That's kind of weird and a little creepy. And they kind of mention that, and when I rewatched that film I realised, yeah, I see what you're on about, Brian. Good point. Why the fuck is he wearing his clothes? Return of the Jedi. This is my favourite one. And there are bits that are just a little bit off, but overall it's exciting, it's thrilling, and it's a brilliant climax, and it's a brilliant ending and a conclusion to this trilogy. The acting gets better and better every time. You've got a massive battle scene on the Forest Moon of Endor, so that's where things really go down, because the rebels have to destroy the shield, a party of fighters to destroy the second Death Star, because the Empire have just gone and been dicks and built another one. Real original, guys. And you've made an even bigger blunder. In the first one, you made a 2-meter wide hole that only torpedoes could get in, and a lucky shot destroyed it. This time round, you've made an even bigger hole that entire ships can fit through and get straight to the main reactor. What were you thinking? I know it's not complete, but it's still idiotic. This is why the Empire falls, because of their stupid mistakes. The last battle, where Luke Skywalker really comes to terms with the fact that this evil tyrant is his father, and he used to be a decent person, but the dark side took him, and he wants to take him back. He wants to show him that there's still good in him. And that happens, but in a really weird way, that it's only on his dying moments that Darth Vader finally goes, hang on, I don't want to do this anymore. This is my son that the Emperor is torturing, and he's going to try and do exactly what he did to me. I've just been manipulated these whole years, and look where it's got me. I'm a burnt out prick. So he finally kills off the Emperor and passes away, and that's quite emotional. And all 3 ghosts that are important to Luke, Yoda, Obi-Wan, and his father, appear at the end. But if you watch the original version, he Anakin Skywalker looks like someone that you don't really recognise, because when you see his normal face, he's all burnt up. So you have to go, wait, who's that meant to be? And then you sort of click, it's his dad. But then I think they remastered it, or in some photos it's remastered to be Hayden Christensen's Anakin Skywalker, which is even weirder, because that's not what he looked like when he died. Yeah, that was him many, many years ago. That was him 19, 20, 30 years ago. So why did they do that? So yeah, all in all, brilliant trilogy, but there are problems that it has. But this is just showing that George Lucas was better when he was younger, and it was more fresh, and there were so many better things that he could have done. Because now Clone Wars, Phantom Menace, and now Disney have the rights. Come on, you're letting the team down, man. As well as Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. I mean, what the fuck? Sorry, that was just an outrage. I might review that later, because, yeah, it outraged me. Okay, bye. And may the Force be with you. Sorry, I had to do that. It was just waiting to happen. Okay, seriously, bye. Here I am.